during the approval hearing, the committee went through their curriculum vitae and their training and the experience. And they were so impressed, Honorable Speaker, by the performance and the experience of all the three nominees, Honorable Speaker. And actually, Honorable Speaker, I think it's worth to mention that we didn't receive any objection or any submission against any, having placed the advert and notified the public of the same, Honorable Speaker. All the nominees were nominated in accordance with the provision of the Constitution 246 of the Constitution and Section 65 of the National Police Act, Caps 85. Honorable Speaker, the members started doing or listening and interviewing the three, starting with the lady, Ms. Peris Muthoni Kimani, who has got a long withstanding experience, who was recruited in the police service as a constable and raised through the ranks to the position. By the time she was exiting the service, she exited in the position of AIG, which is just away 3 ranks below the position of the IG. And she had worked in the National Police Service for almost 40 years, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, throughout her service of the 39 years, she had worked virtually in every part of this country, to include the most hard part of this country, despite being a woman. She had really demonstrated patriotism. She had demonstrated, of course, leadership skills. And all along, Honorable Madam Speaker, she had actually even demonstrated to be a team leader. And we had considered that, Honorable Madam Speaker, she will bring much experience and commitment, patriotism to the National Police Service Commission. Honorable Speaker, on the part of the professor, on the part of the Benjamin Juma Ima, this is a distinguished Kenyan who equally rose through the ranks in the National Police Service, starting as a constable. By the time of retirement, Madam Speaker, she was also in a position of AIG.
Your point of order, Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Is the member on the floor in order to put or to give a statement regarding the nominee Peris Muthoni that says she has done a lot for herself and has been able to achieve a lot despite being a woman? Is being a woman a disability, Honorable Speaker? The honorable member should tell us if it's a disability and if it is supposed to prevent women from being the best that they can be. That is very derogatory, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Tongoyo, I think you kindly apologize.
For what, Madam Speaker? I think, no, listen, members. I'd said
it's simple.
It is in a positive note. Oh, Madam Speaker, what I've said, we should be able to have a positive. I would have said, despite being a lady, she had worked even in the most hardest banditry-prone areas in this country and demonstrated leadership.
Hold on. Women have been known to even serve in Iraq and Afghanistan with distinction.
Okay,
so the fact that they are a woman is not to say that they have done so well despite being a woman.
Okay.
In fact, women ordinarily
if it pleases
do well.
them,
just apologize.
So may it be.
Just apologize.
Honorable Speaker, apologize? By saying that she's an outstanding woman who served this country with distinction and ability. Yes.
Order, honorable members. Order, honorable members. Honorable member Chematia. Chematia, you have something to say? Mm-hmm.
I want to support what Honorable Cynthia is saying, Madam Speaker. It cannot be despite. What do you mean despite? In this floor, Madam Speaker, I earn same salary with Honorable Tongoyo. It doesn't mean it is because I am despite being a woman, that is why I'm here with him.
Member for Kericho.
Honorable Speaker, I respect the chairman, but he is behaving like the real Maasai man. So when he tells us, despite being a woman, is that not discriminatory, Honorable Chair? What is despite? What does that mean? He should apologize and withdraw, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members would like to finish this topic. So Honorable Tongoyo, do apologize, or else I'll read for you the dictionary meaning.
Okay.
If
Madam
I read
Speaker,
for you the dictionary meaning, it's a condescending statement.
Okay.
So apologize.
It seems to have been misunderstood. I withdraw the statement and apologize. Right? Good. Honorable Speaker, I think I should be good to proceed. No, let me proceed.
Proceed, Honorable Tongoyo.
I've said I withdrawn and apologized, and I should be allowed to proceed.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was all in good faith. Honorable Speaker, members kindly, I deserve, Honorable Speaker, to be heard in silence. Honorable Speaker, on the part of the second nominee, kindly protect me from members here. Honorable Speaker, on the part of Benjamin Juma, I'd also mentioned that this is a distinguished Kenyan who served in the Police Service Commission for close to 40 years. And just like our very gracious lady, Paris, throughout his 40 years, he demonstrated patriotism and ability to serve the service with dedication and commitment. And he has actually worked virtually also in every part of this country, to include the most hard area, even part of Lamu. And the Honorable Speaker, he really convinced the committee that when this House approves, he'll be able to bring the needed expertise and commitment to the National Police Service Commission, where is needed most. More importantly, when we are even moving toward the recruitment of the police. On the part of Professor Coletta Suda, this is a great lady also who had served this country in many capacities, including serving as even actually a PS. Also, he served as a CAS, that is the abolished Chief Administrative Secretary. And of course, in high position of leadership in this country and globally. Honorable Speaker, she is a distinguished scholar and has taught in several universities nationally and internationally. Generally, the three nominees demonstrated deep understanding of the topical issues, administrative and technical issues, touching on the governance and the role of the member of the National Police Service Commission. And they possess the requisite abilities, qualification, and experience to serve in the said capacities. Honorable Speaker, Madam Speaker, having considered their stability, their capabilities, and qualification and integrity of their nominees, during the approval hearing, the committee recommended that the House approves the nomination of all the three. And I repeat again, Ms. Paris Muthoni Kimani, Benjamin Juma Ima, and Professor Coletta Suda for the said position as commissioners of the National Police Service Commission. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move, and I request my very able Vice Chair, Honorable Retired Colonel Didoraso, to second this motion. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Tongoyo, I've just searched my dictionary just so that I can educate you. He says, using that phrase, despite being a woman, can indeed be considered problematic and patronizing, and in fact, condescending of women. Why is it potentially derogatory? Being a woman is not an obstacle to serve in any service at all. 2, a woman's service is not unusual or surprising, no matter how tough it is. 3, it implies that her gender makes her achievement exceptional, not because of the achievement itself, but because she's a woman. A better, more respectful alternative that you should have used is that you don't highlight her gender and limit it to the service to merit, but say in the context and where she has, the things that she has achieved. So I'm sorry, Honorable Tongoya, as a woman, I take great exception. So let us proceed. Who's seconding? No, I will not give you a chance to clarify, Majority Leader. Let us just go straight, because you're going to say something that might also give you worse repercussions. So let us proceed. Who was seconding? Honorable Millie, you are the one seconding? Who was seconding, Honorable Tongoya? Honorable Tongoya.
Thank you very much.
Honorable Tongoya, Honorable Raso, you may proceed. Proceed, Honorable Raso.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I think, Madam Speaker, the ladies in the House, they have accepted our apology.
Kindly order, honorable members. Honorable members, order. Proceed, Honorable Raso.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to second this motion that it is important
Honorable Raso, proceed. Because Honorable T.K. Kajwang, you are actually shouting from your seat. You are not requesting to appear. So proceed.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to support this motion, and I wish to associate the good bits that my chairman has covered, particularly on these three nominees. Article 246, Sub-Article 2, Sub-Article A, Sub-Article Roman 2, clearly states that two retired senior police officers, this is Peris Muthoni Kimani and Benjamin Jumaimai, representing the Kenya Police Service, and the other one representing the Administration Police Service. And on Roman 3, three persons of integrity who had served public with distinction, and in this, they are referring to Professor Koleta Suda. To that extent, this meets the constitutional threshold that is required in terms of appointing the members of National Police Service Commission. Honorable Speaker, the functions of the National Police Service is to recruit, to appoint persons to post, confirm appointments, promotion, transfers, disciplinary control, and also remove persons. At this point in time, where we are facing a bit of difficulties as a country, that we should not look away, the work of the National Police Service Commission is cut out, particularly in the area of accountability and transparency, of us being able to address ourselves to the citizens of our country. Secondly, the issue of human rights and fundamental freedoms, that our police officers must actually not only seen, but must walk the talk. The idea of politicizing everything has come out as a result of we going down professionally as a force. And something must come out that the relationship between the National Police Service and the people of Kenya must be restored. That confidence, that trust, it must be there. Madam Speaker, we have been watching the TV on what has been going on in the last 2 days, today and even yesterday. The people of Kenya must respect those who enforce the law. They put their lives on the line so that we are able to even transact in this house. So that when we are on the road, we feel safe that somebody is looking over our backs. But when we accost a young man or woman who is armed, then it means as a country we are being provocative and reckless. And this must be called by its name, that Kenyans must respect those who enforce the law, those who protect them. And on the flip side, the National Police Service Commission must take full control on discipline of their ranks and file. With those remarks, Madam Speaker, I beg to second.
Honorable members, and Honorable TJ, in case you didn't know, that's called positive discrimination, and I will exercise it. Honorable members, I propose the question that, taking into consideration the findings of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security in its report on the approval hearing of nominees for the appointment as members of the National Police Service Commission laid on the table of this House on Thursday, 12th June 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 246(2) and 252 of the Constitution and Sections 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 71, approves the appointment of the following nominees as members of the National Police Service Commission. 1, Ms. Peris Muthoni Kimani. 2, Mr. Benjamin Juma Imai. And 3, Professor Coletta A. Suda. Honorable members, and just as before I sit down, I'd like to recognize the following guests who are seated in the public gallery. Kilo Junior School from Joro constituency in Nakuru County, and Migori Bunge la Mwananchi from Suna East constituency, Migori County, and I will give the opportunity to welcome our guest, the Member of Parliament for Migori County, Honorable Fatuma Mohammed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. First, I want to thank God for letting my people reach Nairobi safely. Bunge la Wananchi is from both Suna East and Suna West, and they are very active young female and male members of their assembly. Bunge la Wananchi is not just for any other purpose other than to correct the leaders. And so in their Bunge la Wananchi, all they do is to discuss their members of parliament and even a county assembly. They discuss our conduct, they discuss the maendeleo we bring to them, and it's a very active group. And I recommend that each and every county, each and every sub-county should have a Bunge la Wananchi, because all they do is to oversight their leaders. And even the finance bill, they are aware what is in the budget, they are aware what is in the finance bill, and if you happen to go against their wish, which is the wish of the Wananchi, they do correct her. So I welcome you from Migori County, and I thank you for taking your time to attend and see our assembly and see how we conduct our business here. Welcome and safe journey back home.
Yes, Honorable Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support this motion for approval of Ms. Peris Muthoni Kimani, Benjamin Juma Imai, and Professor Coletta Suda. Honorable Speaker, I am very careful not to use the word despite. Despite this list having only one man, I support that, Honorable Speaker, despite this list having 2 women and 1 man, and despite me being a father to girls, and knowing that we must accord equal opportunity to everybody, including our daughters and our sisters, I support this list. Honorable Speaker, many of these nominees, as has been said by the chair, who I know was slightly misunderstood, and I think is largely because of where he comes from. There are those who have the misconception that Honorable Tongoyo, coming from the Ma communities, has no regard for women. But I can ascertain and prove, Honorable Speaker, that I have known Honorable Tongoyo for the last few years, and he's also a father to a number of girls, in line with their culture, you do not count them, but he's a father to a number of them and has very high respect for women. And he was saying it on a positive note that these ladies have served in very crucial dockets. Paris Mudhoni served in the police service as a senior police officer, rose through the ranks from a junior officer to the rank of, I think her last posting was either regional or county commander. The same with Professor Coletta Suda. As has been said, she has served as a CAS, and I think at some point also as a PS in the Ministry of Education, the Higher Education Department. And Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, I hear people who are inviting me to the discussion of discussing these ladies and these nominees' age. But you know the Constitution, and Honorable TJ Kajwang knows that our Constitution obligates us not to discriminate anybody on the account of either gender. That is why you had the Honorable ladies led by the distinguished member for Nandi County, Honorable Cynthia Muge, rise in her place so that nobody should be discriminated either on the basis of her age, her gender, or even her religion, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, these ladies and these gentlemen, at whatever age, they are Kenyans who have been vetted and been ascertained by the committee which the Honorable Kaluma sits in, and he's a very serious and senior lawyer. You heard him the other day when he was discussing the law of the sea, that he can tell you, even legally, he can tell you that they vetted and ascertained that these people merit to serve in these positions, Honorable Speaker, and they have very good experience. Because with age, Honorable Speaker, also comes experience. And a commission is like a board of trustees or a board of governors in a company or in an institution. And therefore, they are not the secretariat in the commission, Honorable Speaker. The secretariat has a very able young person, I think, called Lele, who is a CEO, with a very able team of young, energetic Kenyans, very productive at their prime age. And therefore, it's also good to marry that with a board or a commission that has both experience and wisdom. And I say that, Honorable Speaker, because all these officers have served in senior positions in government and out of government, and therefore have the requisite experience and wisdom to be able to guide the commission, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, in closing, and I think it's the Vice Chair who has alluded to it, we must call on this commission to ensure that they work towards completely professionalizing our police force. Honorable Speaker, yesterday the Minister or the Cabinet Secretary in charge of the Interior and National Security did pronounce himself on a number of reforms within the police service. And part of those reforms must and should be implemented or supervised, the implementation will be supervised by the National Police Service Commission. And I want to call on these nominees as they join the commission to ensure that these reforms are implemented fully, that they professionalize our police force, and support our police officers. Because Honorable Raso has said it, and I know he came from the uniformed forces. These are men and women who give their lives to the service of our nation. In other jurisdictions, Honorable Speaker, and many of you who travel outside sea, that those who have served in the military, those who have served in the police forces in their jurisdictions, are accorded very high respect, but even in retirement, not just when they're in service. You see, when you go to the US, they don't even queue in banks or at airports, those who have served in the military or in the disciplined forces. Why is it, Honorable Speaker, that for us we do not treat our servicemen and women with the same honor and dignity, yet we expect the same in return, Honorable Speaker? If we expect to be treated with courtesy, with honor, and with respect by our uniformed officers, let us also treat them with the respect and honor that comes with the officers that they serve in, Honorable Speaker. These are the officers who are saluted to you, Honorable Speaker, and me and everybody else as we pass them in the streets. Many of us never bother to take our time to even know how they are doing, Honorable Speaker. And they are Kenyans like every other Kenyan, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, allow me also, Honorable Speaker, to take this opportunity. As much as we condemn excessive use of force by any officer, Honorable Speaker, and Honorable Speaker, to state that whatever happens, Honorable Speaker, in a country that has the rule of law at the core of its operations, Honorable Speaker, is something that this House must pay attention to, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, even or in spite or despite of the sad happenings of the death of Albert Ojwang, Honorable Speaker, I must commend the police that they have done their work to ensure that those who are responsible are brought to book, Honorable Speaker. Because that is how civilized nations work. That is how civilized democracies work. That you allow investigative agencies to do their work, take action against those who are seen to have been involved in one way or the other in breach of the law, Honorable Speaker. But also in the same light, Honorable Speaker, even as we condemn the excesses of a number of officers, because it is not all officers, Honorable Speaker. It is a few officers. Just like, Honorable Speaker, even in this House, we are not all angels. There are many of us who have our own shortcomings. And therefore, in every institution, Honorable Speaker, even within the police force, there are officers who will have excesses, and the law must be allowed to take its course, Honorable Speaker. But that must never be a justification that if an officer or two have exceeded the expectations of the public, Honorable Speaker, for us as members of the public to take the law into our hands, because that will be courting disaster and chaos in the country. I have seen activists in the streets, Honorable Speaker, touting policemen, an armed police officer, and you are touting them. I saw somebody, Honorable Speaker, the other day in Nakuru, brandishing a machete at an armed police officer, and I must take this opportunity, Honorable Speaker, to commend that officer in Nakuru, who was being taunted with a panga. His life would have been at risk, or the lives of other Kenyans, but he maintained his cool. That is the kind of spirit we want to see, Honorable Speaker. But we must also speak to our people. We must also speak to the public that let us also treat our policemen and women with respect, with honor, and with the dignity that they deserve. Honorable Speaker, it is said, Honorable Speaker, that if you want to know the cost of education, try ignorance. If you want to know the cost of chaos, Honorable Speaker, allow, Honorable Speaker, everybody to roam the streets and do what they want and withdraw the police from those streets any day. Whether they are people picketing, whether they are demonstrators, whether they are mobilized looters, like we have seen, Honorable Speaker, in the recent past, what we are seeing being described as demonstrations are organized groups of goons, Honorable Speaker. Yes. Organized groups of goons. And you know, shamelessly, I had a leader purport that even the cars that were burnt last week were nowhere in the register of vehicles at NTSA. And I want to dare the former deputy president. It is okay to go and incite people on vernacular radio, but you must have the decency to adduce evidence of every allegation and claim that you make. Otherwise, you continue to exhibit the sort of ignorance that you served within office, even when you're out of office, Honorable Speaker. Kenyans witnessed those cars being burnt down. It only took me 5 minutes, Honorable Speaker, to be able to check. Just zoom in, look at the number plates, check for those number plates at NTSA, and you'll be able to see that these are cars, one of them belongs to a security company, Honorable Speaker. You saw the officers who are in the escort car. Those officers, mind you, Honorable Speaker, are allowed to use brutal force to protect what they are escorting. Because most of them, it's cash in transit. They do not know who are these who are stopping them in the streets when they are transiting with cash. But those officers, Honorable Speaker, if you saw the video clips, they fired in the air to scare the people who are blocking the van that had the valuables that they were transporting, and they were able to sail through. Unfortunately, the one that had unarmed officers, Honorable Speaker, ended up being torched. I'm saying this, Honorable Speaker, to appeal to members of the public. Let us not taunt our officers. Let us not throw our hands at them. Because I've seen people just brandishing their hands at officers, Honorable Speaker, and some restrain themselves. It's not every day you come across an officer who will be able to restrain themselves. Therefore, conduct ourselves, Honorable Speaker, in a dignified way. When we want to picket, when we want to protest, Honorable Speaker, we do it in a way that we are also not provoking these officers, that we are not provoking those who are running businesses in our towns, Honorable Speaker, because also this chaos comes with a huge cost to business people, especially those in the CBD who've had to lose their property last year, and as you can see, Honorable Speaker, this year. And Honorable Speaker, may I dare say, as I said here last week, you will find many of the people causing chaos and mobilizing chaos, Honorable Speaker, are not in pursuit of justice. Some have not even had the decency and the courtesy to even say pole to Mzee Ojwang and his family, the family of the young man from Homa Bay who is deceased. But they will want to use his name for politics, Honorable Speaker, and mobilize all manner of things, shenanigans that they want to, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, let me, Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, just say I support these names. As I said, despite there being only one man, Honorable Speaker, these are very able officers who will serve this commission, Honorable Speaker. And
very important business to transact. I'd like to close this. I'd like to close this motion so that we can move to the next business. But I think it would not be right for me, especially as a woman leader, not to correct the Hansard, which was, your report. So I think I propose that you change to say that Mrs. Paris Muthoni Kimani has served with distinction in the police forces, including in hardship areas. That's a nicer way. Or if you must mention her gender, then I prefer if you said it this way. As one of the few women in the police force at the time, Mrs. Paris Muthoni Kimani served in the police force, including in hardship areas, demonstrating her resilience and commitment. Thank you. You want to speak? Okay. I'll give Honorable Kaluma first.
I thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I know all the nominees. I know Madam Paris Muthoni Kimani, a lady who has risen from very humble beginnings and has served up to very high echelons of the security apparatus. I know Benjamin Emai, a person I've worked with in the security sector when I've been serving in this committee since 2013, a very capable man who would be able to serve in this important committee. Honorable Speaker, Madam Colette Suda was a sociology teacher at the University of Nairobi, a lecturer for very long, amazing lady who has served previously as a PS and a CAS, including in our education ministry. So I know them, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the emphasis I wanted to make is that we have a team of nominees here, Honorable Speaker, who will stand for the functions and roles of the National Police Service Commission. This commission has 4 main roles under the Constitution, Honorable Speaker. Number one, this is the commission that deals with recruitment of police officers. This is the commission that deals with transfer of police officers. This is the commission that deals with promotion of police officers. People may not know, but this is the commission that deals with disciplinary control over processes of discipline of a police officer. So seeing their orientation and where they come from, Paris from the Kenya Police, Benjamin Imai from Administration Police, and of course Colette Suda from the public, and having been a sociology lecturer, this is a team, Honorable Speaker, that will do this. But Honorable Speaker, allow me only to emphasize one point, which has been spoken to by the majority leader. Honorable Speaker, we have the best Bill of Rights in this country. We have the best Bill of Rights. And I think we must allow our people to enjoy those provisions in our human rights and fundamental freedoms to the full. But Honorable Speaker, we need to begin reminding all Kenyans and even foreigners in the country, Honorable Speaker, that we can only enjoy those fundamental freedoms and human rights within the confines of the law, within the confines of the Constitution, and alive to the fact that ultimately we need a stable state. Honorable Speaker, I was very sad when I saw a video of a person now confirmed to be a foreigner wielding a panga at our police officers on the main street in Nakuru. And you know, he's wielding the panga, charging at the police officers who are armed, and he's sharpening the panga on the tarmac as he goes. I want to say, Honorable Speaker, that such an individual is lucky because of the richness of our Bill of Rights. In the country he comes from, which I hear is Uganda, I don't think he would have reached with that panga even on the streets. And so we must avoid situations where we overprovoke our police officers, because these police officers, Honorable Speaker, are going to the level where they are saying we may sit back and let people do as they will. That would be the birth of chaos. That would be the birth of anarchy. Honorable Speaker, on just the other day when we were dealing with the matter of budget here, I saw a young Kenyan lady, an activist who has been doing very, very well. A lady from Western, I know. These are over 6 police officers all armed to control demonstration. And I don't know whether the House and members watched that video. The girl just charged at police officer and went pulling the neck, pulling it. You don't do that. Soon thereafter, you watched the law and order sector in the United States. And I don't know, Honorable Speaker, you watched what that law and order officer was saying. You abuse our police officers, you will go to jail, but you pass through hospital. You spit on our police officers, you will go to jail, but you will pass through hospital, because our dogs, our beautiful dogs, will bite you. You touch the body of our police officers. He said, your relatives will be called to pick the remains, your remains, wherever they are. I'm not saying we should go to that extreme, but I see a challenge where we must, Honorable Speaker, begin thinking of how we can enjoy these fundamental freedoms while aware they have limits, and while aware these police officers, if they avoided keeping law and order, there is a problem. That is not to say our police should behave. Indeed, those ones who misbehave must be held accountable in the manner we are doing this otherwise, and expeditiously. And Honorable Speaker, that will be the reason as to why we are sending this gentleman and these great ladies of Kenya to go and deal with disciplinary control. And when they go, if they will be approved, let them balance the scales to allow our police officers to act while allowing Kenyans also to enjoy human rights and fundamental freedoms without fear or favor. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I support
Okay, there are people on this side who have their hands
Thank
up. I just want to make sure if you could speak kindly for 3 minutes so that we close this matter. So, Honorable TJ, are you still interested? You look like you've zoned off. Honorable Member for Ndiwa, and then I'll come to you, Honorable Loundo, and I'll come to you.
Thank you, Speaker. Madam Speaker, thank you so much.
People who requested to actually contribute were
I rise to support these nominees. Actually, one of them is from my constituency. Coletta Suda worked very well as a PS. So as much as we recommend their appointment, Madam Speaker, there is a problem in the police force that they must address. Police service, yes. I hope it will translate to that and be seen. This is one area we spend 1.3 billion every year. So these individuals have their job cut so that we can transform this into accountable, transparent, professional, and disciplined police service. Madam Speaker, today we were watching young people on the streets, the capital of Nairobi, with the rungus. This is a country that is well respected, and such scenes are not welcome. So as their job relates to recruitment, which we always have a problem with, I hope they will strengthen that. The issue of promotion. Madam Speaker, some police officers take years and years before they can be promoted. I hope they will address that squarely as well. The issue of discipline, transfers, but more so capacity building, that a police officer can know that the only document that guides them is the rule of law, not powers from above, not instructions from above. These are the capacities that we need to have our officers in. After saying that, Madam Speaker, the three individuals are up to the task, and I wish them well. I ask members also to approve them so that they can get to work. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support.
Honorable Owunda.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow me also to join in supporting the report of the committee in their proposals to appoint the three Kenyans, Peris Mudhoni Kimani, Benjamin Juma Imani, and Professor Coletta A. Suda. Regardless the fact that the gender rule has not been complied with, but since our ladies have been very passionate about it,
It's 1/3.
we will...
So that meets it. 1 of 3 is 30%.
Okay, fine. Let us not lose focus. Honorable Speaker, when we inaugurated the new constitution, it gave us a very elaborate Bill of Rights coming out of repressive regimes over the past year since independence. And at the center of any democracy is the law enforcement agencies. Honorable Speaker, our Kenyan police and our entire security system is a respected body all over the world. And every Kenyans expect them to uphold the rule of law, integrity, accountability, and respect to human rights. Honorable Speaker, as we stand here today, truth be told without even bias, the relationship between the Kenyan police service and the general public could be considered to be at the lowest ebb ever. Why, Honorable Speaker? Two issues, Honorable Speaker, and on both sides. One, there is a general lack of motivation in the police force, a police service. Their level of empowerment, their level of welfare, their salary, their living conditions, their working conditions are deplorable and to the very best, not acceptable for a human person working. And the chair knows, many places, Honorable Speaker, at this time of age and era, there are no vehicles to transport policemen to go to work. At this particular time and era, many police stations, even those that have got police cars, do not have fuel allocation. They have to rely on members of public. You call a policeman to come and rescue, the first question they'll ask you, nitumie pesa kunua mafuta. We diminish their morale. Then, Honorable Speaker, the issue of mental health could also be combined with the working conditions. On the other side, Honorable Speaker, the police are trained to serve the people of Kenya. It's unacceptable for a policeman to brutalize a human being. It's unacceptable, Honorable Speaker, for a policeman to shoot and kill a harmless person. I saw it with my own eyes, Honorable Speaker, during the Sufuria Mandamano, the Ugali Mandamano. Honorable Speaker, we just pray the new service. The commissioners will truly make the service a service, not a brutal force to be used to settle political scores and to settle other unknown issues.
Honorable Ngongoya. I said Ngogoyo. Oh, they were giving you? No, Ngogoyo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to support the three individuals that were vetted by the committee to be members of the National Police Service. And Madam Speaker, as I support this motion before the floor, I want to say that the work of the National Police Service is well cut out. Number one, they deal with recruitment and appointments to the National Police Service. we have always had problems of unfair appointments to the National Police Service. And Madam Speaker, in some regions, we have always had skewed recruitment of people to the National Police Service, and specifically the formula in which the National Police Service uses. One of the roles that this commission has is to develop fairer processes that can be used so that they can address the issue of inequality for people who want to serve in the National Police Service. They will also deal with promotions and confirmation of appointments. Madam Speaker, very importantly, they have a role for disciplinary control inside the National Police Service. We've had incidences, and like the latest of Ojwang, Madam Speaker, who has died in a police station. Disciplinary control is a role that the National Police Service has to the officers who serve, and even the management of the institutions that are gazetted as police posts and police stations. Madam Speaker, will be looking forward to have new brains, to have new ideas, so that they will not serve like those who have been there before, that they can better the commission, so that the commission can serve this country. Madam Speaker, and I want to say this while I agree with the majority leader specifically on this, a country is held together by institutions such as the National Police Service. But we must agree one thing, Madam Speaker. What has happened, for instance, today? A young man selling some items in town has been shot down by a police officer. Selling face masks. Madam Speaker, the young man did not run. He was unarmed. It's just worrying. And one of the roles that the National Police Service has to do is to bring our country together. And the greatest threat now we have is when an institution or leadership loses touch with the people they lead. Where I come from, Madam Speaker, we rear cattle. The worst shepherd is the shepherd who cannot look back and see where his cattle is. Let us be careful that we do not lose touch with Kenyans. A good shepherd looks back to see whether he still has his flock. Let us not lose Kenyans in the race of leading Kenya. And specifically for us who are elected on Kenya Kwanza, we promised the police service that we will improve their conditions for working. So I want to say, Madam Speaker, that as I conclude, the Kenya Kwanza administration promised 3 things. 1, their remunerations, their conditions for working, and their benefits, majority of which have not been met up to date. The current National Police Service, as we approve them, and I agree, they are competent individuals, they need to work so that, Madam Speaker, they are able to get benefits. Otherwise, with those very many remarks, Madam Speaker, let us approve them. Some of them are people we know, very competent, and I want to say that these are people who can serve this country and make it better even as we go forward. And I want to thank Kimani Ichung'wah for listening to the ground, because now I've seen you have changed your talking. Thank you very much.
Thank you, honorable members. Let me now put the question. Honorable, oh, you reply first. Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I beg to reply, despite that no one of our great ladies in the House has supported, but I know they have already supported all of them. Madam Speaker, I want to thank all members who actually contributed to this
Honorable
debate.
Togoyo, you can donate some of your reply to Honorable Millie, because I know she was there from the beginning. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I donate 2 minutes. Sorry? Despite you being okay, I read 2 minutes, Millie 2. Then.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Millie, please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You see how they trivialize women issues.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity because I am a lady.
Not despite me being a lady, because I am a lady. And I want to say that, Madam Speaker, it is actually wonderful that you are sitting as a speaker. And in this commission that we are doing the appointment now, there are 2 women and 1 man. And let them feel what it is like. They are all complaining using words like despite. We can give you further English to use to complain, because as we've been complaining all our lives. But that aside, Madam Speaker, I support. Of course, it would have been, I know the one of them, Honorable, Madam Colette, and I know the issue of her age as a reason, and I wish we had brought in somebody younger, but she still has competence, because we cannot also do away with our people who are older. We will also one day be all 70, Madam Speaker. But having said that, Madam Speaker, I think members have spoken to this, but I'll also just say that, yes, we need to respect our police, but our police need to restrain themselves as well. Just now, a young man has been shot dead. It is very unfortunate, because the police have a higher duty of care, just the way we as members of parliament. We are abused daily. We are even attacked physically, but we restrain ourselves. When you are given to him who much is given, much is expected. So even if the public goes against you, please restrain yourself. I support.
Honorable Mayaka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also stand to support these particular nominees. And Honorable Speaker, it is actually very refreshing that this time round we have the 2/3 gender favoring the female gender. It's a very refreshing thing, Honorable Speaker, but we believe in the competence of these 3 nominees. And Honorable Speaker, it is the role of the National Police Service Commission to ensure that our police are upholding the highest standards, especially in discipline. It is just to also join my colleagues in actually condemning the fact that we had a young man shot today because he was selling mass, he was not armed. And we'd just like to urge our police, Honorable Speaker, to exercise restraint. It is very important for them to do that, Honorable Speaker, and we are here to support and ensure that they are actually getting the best people to help them to be able to strive to the highest excellence of discipline. With those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I do support. I thank you.
Boltongo, close, Chair.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want really to appreciate all members in this House who had actually contributed to this motion and supported. Madam Speaker, as I said earlier, the 3 nominees that we are approving this evening to join the National Police Service, I've got a lot of confidence in them. There are people who have demonstrated already high level of competence. And Madam Speaker, I know their work is well cut off. The recruitment is just around the corner. And
yes, Honorable Millie, what's your point of order?
I don't know what, okay. Madam Speaker, it would be, Madam Speaker, it would be careless on my part if I don't say that I've just learned that actually the young man that I'm talking about, I'm being told, is again from Homa Bay and from Suba. Madam Speaker, that is why we must always stand on principle. Can you imagine if I was speaking here carelessly, saying how it is nice for police to kill people? But I've said the police need to restrain themselves without knowing that this is a person from Suba. Madam Speaker, I want to repeat, it does not matter, and he was selling masks because people are demonstrating. I've actually watched that clip. It is totally reckless and irresponsible what that police officer has done, and they are doing a disservice to this government, because when you make 5 steps forward or 10 steps forward, they take you 50 back. And we need to be moving forward as a country. We can't be moving back all the time. What do I go and tell the Suba people, honestly? I don't know if it's from Suba North or Suba South, but whichever is from Suba. It is unfortunate. And from Homa Bay, we are tired of mourning. We are dying of natural causes. Even yesterday, I lost my nursery school teacher at Which. Today, again, we are from the police. Let us die of natural. Let us die of natural causes, not being killed. Homa Bay, please. Please.
Thank you.
Ongondowere, Ojuang, Now, surely, all of us are being killed. Who will remain in Homa Bay? Please.
Anyway, my condolences.
Okay, Honorable Tongoyo.
My condolences to the young Kenyan. Honorable Speaker, I was just saying that the 3 nominees that we are approving this evening to join the National Police Service, I've got a lot of confidence and I want to appreciate members. And I know they will bring the most much needed reform in the police service, modernizing the police service, and of course even bring, of course, the issue of ongoing reform in the police service. Their work is cut off. The first assignment is the upcoming National Police Service recruitment, which we want to assure the country that, of course, in the support of this House, is going to be transparent. And of course, I wanted to also to just confirm to you, Madam Speaker, because it's a question that keeps coming, that the service had confirmed that the recruitment centers are going to be 4 or 5. So I think it's good to be on record. So, Honorable Speaker, with all this, I reply.
Okay, thank you, honorable members. We shall put the question at a later time. Meanwhile, we can now read the next order. Next order.
Order number 12, the Finance Bill, National Assembly Bill number 19 of 2025, second reading.
Chairperson, Finance and Planning Committee.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to move that the Finance Bill, National Assembly Bill number 19 of 2025, be now read a second time. Honorable Speaker, for the last 32 days, my committee, that of the Finance and National Planning Committee, has dutifully and diligently discharged its mandate in accordance with Standing Order number 245 through a comprehensive review and a consideration of the Finance Bill of 2025. Honorable Speaker, these men and women have had to work even during weekends and holidays, usually from 9 a.m. all through midnight, every single day, traversing 20 different counties of this great republic to ensure that this House has a comprehensive report on this bill. Honorable Speaker, the task now rests with this House to dutifully deliberate on the committee's report and the proposed tax measures with a view to ensuring that this country has a prudent balance between revenue mobilization and expenditure obligations. It is our collective responsibility to ensure that the bill supports sustainable economic growth while remaining responsive to the needs of the people. Honorable Speaker, unlike previous finance bills presented to this House, the Finance Bill of 2025 is not merely a revenue-raising tool, but a vital policy-making instrument that is reforming the broader tax landscape. Its central focus is to enhance tax revenue collection through strategic administrative reforms and improve taxpayer compliance, rather than by introducing new taxes. The bill proposes the simplification of existing tax laws to make them clearer, more predictable, and accessible to all taxpayers. This simplification includes consolidating overlapping provisions and eliminating outdated or redundant clauses that continue to burden the current legal framework. Honorable Speaker, the Finance Bill embodies the government's commitment to modernizing tax administration and fostering a culture of trust and cooperation between the Kenya Revenue Authority and its citizens. It introduces a range of policy measures designed to strengthen the efficiency of revenue collection, including the use of technology, improved data analysis, and risk-based audits. These reforms are aimed at curbing tax evasion, expanding the tax base, and ensuring that all eligible taxpayers contribute their fair share of tax. Mr. Speaker, the decision by the Committee on the Finance Bill 2025 is anchored in a well-established framework and past legislative measures. Since the enactment of Finance Act of 2023, the committee has operated under a consistent set of guiding principles and policies that have shaped its review of various tax measures, including the Finance Bill of 2024, the Tax Laws Amendment Act of 2024, the Business Laws Amendment Act of 2024, the Tax Procedures Amendment Act of 2024. the national tax policy as the overarching framework, together with the medium-term revenue strategy, which has been very central to these efforts. These policies, Honorable Speaker, aim to ensure predictability and sustainability within the tax system, thereby fostering a more environment for business. Mr. Speaker, since the enactment of the Finance Act of 2024, this House approved a series of tax measures aimed at achieving specific revenue targets that support fiscal sustainability. The Finance Act of 2022 had a projected revenue of 22 billion shillings. The Finance Act of 2023, 211 billion shillings. The Finance Bill of 2024 had intentions to raise 344 billion shillings. The Tax Laws Amendment Act now 2024, 49 billion shillings. But the Finance Bill of 2024, only 24 billion shillings. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, through the rationalization of tax incentives, improved compliance, and ongoing administrative reforms, the government projects to generate an additional 24 billion in revenue for the 25-26, underscoring the commitment to building a fair, transparent, and efficient tax system. Mr. Speaker, after reviewing the Finance Bill of 2025, the committee proposed a series of amendments aimed at enhancing the efficiency of the country's tax framework. In its deliberations, the committee carefully considered stakeholder submissions along with the strategic guidance provided by the medium-term revenue strategy and the national tax policy. Further, Honorable Speaker, the Pigovian tax in principle, Honorable Speaker, one of the works of the great British economics, Arthur Cecil Pig, Honorable Speaker, are also reflected in this bill. Measures such as maintaining tax exemption for renewable energy products and electric mobility companies, Honorable Speaker, correct negative externalities. By rewarding consumable practices, this aligns with Kenya's commitment to climate change under the Paris Agreement and Vision 2030. Mr. Speaker, many of the proposals draw from the Keynesian fiscal stimulus principle, which argue that for proactive government intervention to spur spurring aggregate demand during times of economic slack, Honorable Speaker, by incentivizing sectors such as housing, green energy, and manufacturing, this bill aims to create jobs, increase household incomes, and drive long-term economic growth while preserving fiscal discipline. As Richard Musgrave said in his book, The Theory of Public Finance in 1959, public finance is not just about raising revenue, but about shaping the economy and the society we, the just people of Kenya, want. Further, Mr. Speaker, the primary objective of the consideration of this bill is guided by stakeholder input with the views of Kenyans and established policy frameworks, which was to streamline tax expenditures, reduce revenue leakage, and promote fairness through targeted tax incentives aligned with the national development goals. In addition, Honorable Speaker, the amendments proposed by the committee aim to enhance predictability and stability within the tax regime, critical factors in fostering a conducive and competitive business environment that support long-term investment and effective economic planning. A consistent and transparent tax framework empowers investors to make informed, long-term decisions with greater confidence by reducing the uncertainty often associated with frequent and predictable legislative changes. Honorable Speaker, the committee conducted extensive public participation and based on the views received, proposed far-reaching amendments to the bill while also expressing support for certain provisions as originally drafted. Clause 2 of the Finance Bill, Honorable Speaker, under the definition of software, includes both the software itself and its distribution within the meaning of royalty. The committee observed that the distribution of software does not, by itself, constitute a royalty-generating activity, and therefore, including it in as such could lead to unintended tax implications for distributors. In line with international best practice and OECD guidelines, and to safeguard the interests of stakeholders and Kenyans operating the sector, the committee recommended the deletion of the phrase and includes distribution of software from the definition. This amendment seeks to provide clarity amid misinterpretation and ensure a fair, accurate tax framework for software-related transactions. Clause 4 of the Finance Bill proposes a cleanup of the amendments introduced under the Tax Amendment Act of 2024, which exempted all pension payments, including lump sum withdrawals, from income tax. However, certain provisions that previously granted separate exemptions for lump sum pension payments were not repealed, resulting in a potential ambiguity. To address this bill is seeking to repeal these redundant provisions and related exemptions. The committee supported this proposal, noting that the amendment enhances clarity and affirms that all pension payments, and I mean all pension payments, whether received as a lump sum or monthly, are fully exempt from income tax as originally intended. Clause 6, which proposes to remove the Kenya shillings 5 million threshold for the significant economic presence tax, was carefully considered by the committee. The committee observed that the existence of the threshold creates loopholes for revenue leakage, particularly because non-resident entities or individuals are not required to file tax returns. This is making it difficult for the Kenyan Revenue Authority to verify compliance. As a result, KRA is unable to confirm whether the threshold has been met and therefore hindering effective enforcement. To address this challenge, the committee supported the proposal to remove the significant economic presence tax threshold altogether as a means of enhancing compliance and reducing opportunities of tax avoidance. Clause 8A, 5 and 6, which pertains to tax deductions for the construction of stadia. The committee welcomes the proposal as a progressive step that aligns the government's agenda of promoting sports infrastructure and youth development across the country. Investing in modern sports facilities not only supports talent development, but also fosters social cohesion, community engagement, and economic activity through sports tourism and related enterprises. However, the committee raised concerns over the proposal to delete the provision that allows tax deduction for sponsorship of sports activities. The committee noted that this move would likely discourage private sector involvement in sports sponsorship, which has been instrumental in nurturing athletes, supporting local teams, and elevating Kenya's profile on the global sports stage. Retaining this incentive is in line with the government's broader objective of better bottom-up economic transformation agenda, which prioritizes youth empowerment, job creation, and expanding opportunities in creative and sports industries. As such, the committee recommends that the provision of sports sponsorship be retained to ensure continued collaboration between the public and the private sector in driving growth and excellence in the sports of this country. Honourable Speaker, it has been very interesting to note the growth of our sports sector and especially the love Kenyans are having for our local teams, Honourable Speaker. And this particular, both provisions of allowing private sector to invest inside and making it an investment deduction on their income tax and sponsoring these sporting activities is a great step to ensuring that we further enhance our local sports. And hopefully, we'll be able to fill in our stadium and watch our television sets as much as we watch small teams like Arsenal play, Honourable Speaker. Clause 8B1, which proposes to amend the Income Tax Act to allow interest deductions on mortgages taken for the construction of a residential house, was reviewed by the committee. The committee noted that under the current legal framework, such deductions are typically limited to mortgages used for the purpose of purchasing of a primary residence, with no express provision permitting deductions for home construction. This gap in law has excluded individuals who opt to construct their own homes from benefiting from mortgage interest relief. To address this bill seeks to explicitly include mortgage interest deductions for residential construction, thereby reducing the tax burden for individuals financing home construction. The committee supported this proposal, noting that it promotes fairness and encourages investment in home ownership. Honourable Speaker, the role of taxation should not just is not to punish wealth, but to fund the common good and correct the market blind spots. Clause 8C and D, which proposes to introduce a time limit on the carry forward of business losses, was carefully considered by the committee. Currently, businesses may carry forward losses indefinitely, yet they are only required to retain records for 5 years. This creates verification challenges. To address this, the bill is proposing a 5-year cap. However, after listening to stakeholders, the committee amended the proposal to allow for an additional 5 years extension upon application and approval. This approach balances administrative efficiency with business flexibility, It aligns with public finance principle of time consistency and fair tax policy as outlined by Richard Musgrave, and by reducing abuse of indefinite carry forwards and promoting simplicity, predictability, and equity in tax systems. Clause 16 introduces a withholding tax on payments to non-resident ship owners. This proposal was supported by the committee as a strategic move to enhance tax compliance and revenue collection from foreign entities that operate in Kenya without a physical presence in Kenya. This measure reduces dependency on self-reporting and ensures earlier and more reliable tax remittances through withholding at source. The committee noted that with proper implementation of guidelines and digital systems, the measure can be administered effectively and fairly. It aligns with the benefit principle of taxation, which holds that those who benefit from operating in a particular market should contribute to its tax base. Moreover, this is consistent with the UN Model Tax Convention, which permits source-based taxation of international transport services. This reinforces Kenya's commitment to a fair, modern, and globally aligned tax system. Clause 26E, which addresses the taxation framework for special economic zones, proposes to limit tax incentives strictly to licensed SEZ developers, operators, and enterprises, rather than extending these benefits broadly across all entities within the zone. The committee observed that the current approach has enabled excessive access to incentives, which in some instances has been abused, resulting in high fiscal costs without commensurate economic activity. The proposed adjustment seeks to align with broader policy objectives of reducing tax-based erosion and profit shifting, while promoting fairness, neutrality, and targeted support within the tax system. The committee supported this proposal, noting that a more focused incentive structure will enhance accountability and ensure that the intended beneficiaries are those generally contributing to the economic objectives of the SEZ framework. Honorable Speaker, Clause 27, which proposes to remove the provision of the Income Tax Act that grants a special accelerated investment deduction of up to 100% for capital investments located outside Nairobi and Mombasa. This deduction currently allows businesses to claim substantial tax relief on qualifying capital expenditures, such as building machinery and industry equipment. However, Mr. Speaker, the committee expressed concern that removing this incentive could discourage investment in regions outside the two major urban centers. The accelerated deduction has been a deliberate policy tool to promote equitable regional development, industrial decentralization, and job creation in undeserved areas. Eliminating it may inadvertently widen regional disparities, slow down infrastructure expansion, and hinder government's efforts under a better agenda, which prioritizes inclusion in economic growth across all counties. Clause 28, Honorable Speaker, is providing for incentives for companies that are going to be certified by Nairobi International Financial Center Authority, where an investor who invests 3 billion shillings will get 15% preferential income tax rate for the first 10 years and 20% for the subsequent 10 years. But however, there is a provision, Honorable Speaker, that they must have a particular percentage of their senior management being Kenyans, Honorable Speaker. For startup, they're going to get a preferential income tax rate of 15% for the first 3 years and a 20% preferential tax rate for the subsequent 5 years. Honorable Speaker, this particular provision will lead to increased foreign attraction of foreign direct investments, grow our manufacturing as a percentage of GDP, Honorable Speaker, and most importantly, attract fintech companies into this country, Honorable Speaker. We have seen Kenya taking a lead in fintech business, Honorable Speaker. Even during COVID and post-COVID, when all the other sectors of the economy were contracting, we have seen financial services sector continue to grow. We must make Kenya the hub of financial services growth across the globe, Honorable Speaker, and especially across Africa. As you notice, Honorable Speaker, next week I will be tabling a report on virtual assets providers bill that will make Kenya the 4th country in Africa to provide a legal framework for trading in virtual assets. And these are cryptos, bitcoins, and virtual assets, and blockchain technology, Honorable Speaker. And if the Honorable House passes this particular law, Honorable Speaker, we are going to see a lot of these institutions set up based in Kenya and operate in the rest of Africa, Honorable Speaker. However, Honorable Speaker, Clause 28B, 2 and 3, which proposes to eliminate the preferential 15% corporate tax rate extended to companies involved in local assembly of motor vehicles and those undertaking the construction of at least 100 residential housing units, was carefully reviewed by the committee. After comprehensive consultations with stakeholders and members of the public, the committee resolved to reject the proposal. The committee recognized that this lower tax rate is a crucial policy tool in supporting strategic sectors that play a significant role in job creation, industrial growth, and addressing the national housing deficit. The committee further noted that retaining the 15% corporate tax rate is grounded on the principle of strategic economic support, which emphasizes targeted incentives to sectors with high multiplier effects. These incentives, Honorable Speaker, are well aligned with modern industry policy thinking, such as Jun Chang's theory of the development state, which advocates for state-led support to build competitive industries, and Michael Porter's cluster-based approach, which promotes the growth of sectoral ecosystems through focused policy and fiscal incentives. Supporting local vehicle assembly, Honorable Speaker, and affordable housing not only inspires direct employment, but also stimulates auxiliary industries, supports chains and service providers, and creates a broader economic impact. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, maintaining this incentive ensures that there is policy certainty. It strengthens investor confidence and sustains momentum in key sectors that are central to Kenya's industrialization and inclusive economic development agenda. Clause 34, Honorable Speaker, is proposing to remove the word taxable from the relevant provisions, which was considered by the committee in the context of strengthening the tax administration. The committee observed that this amendment is intended to mandate the issuance of tax invoices for both taxable and exempt supplies, thereby addressing existing challenges in the accurate determination of total turnover. It also aligns with the current requirement under ITIMS, which mandates invoicing for all transactions, except where specifically exempted under the Tax Procedures Act, Cap 469B. The committee supported the proposal, noting that it will enhance transparency, it will improve record keeping, and contribute to more effective and consistent tax enforcement across all sectors of the economy. Clause 36 and 37, which sought to reclassify certain suppliers from zero-rated to exempt status, were thoroughly scrutinized by the committee. The affected items included local assembly and manufactured mobile phones, electric buses, motorcycles and electric bicycles, lithium-ion and solar batteries, raw materials for production of fertilizer and animal feeds, and bioethanol vapor stoves classified under HS Code 1200. These are all critical areas in this country's industrialization, food security, and green energy transition. The committee observed that these items had only been recently granted zero rating status in the Finance Act of 2023 in a deliberate policy aimed at incentivizing local manufacturing, promoting the adoption of sustainable technologies, and lowering the cost of essential goods and services. Reverting them to exempt status will not only reverse these gains, but also disrupt market confidence, increase input costs, and undermine private sector growth, particularly in emerging the job-rich sectors, such as mobile device assembly and electric mobility, Honorable Speaker. The committee recommends to retain zero-rated status for these key inputs, as well aligned with the government's broader policy objective under bottom-up transformation agenda and Vision 2030. These policy frameworks prioritize industrial growth, climate resilience, and affordable energy solutions, job creation, and sustainable agriculture. For example, local mobile assembly has created thousands of jobs, while the electric mobility sector, including electric buses and bicycles and motorcycles, supports green transport initiatives and offers affordable transport alternatives. Lithium-ion batteries production and the uptake of BEVs further contribute to environmental stability and reduce reliance on fossil fuels, Honorable Speaker. You'll notice, Honorable Speaker, for example, for lithium-ion batteries, Kenya is one of the largest manufacturers of lithium batteries, allowing us even to export to other countries, including Tanzania, Honorable Speaker. This has only been made able through this zero rating, Honorable Speaker. In as much as we understand the strategy, Honorable Speaker, by the National Treasury to try to reduce tax expenditures, which have been in excess of 500 billion shillings every year. And Honorable Speaker, these tax expenditures, remember, our development budget is partly around 650 billion shillings. Whereas our tax expenditures is around 550 billion shillings. So our tax expenditures is almost as much as